Hello, Salam alaikum. Welcome to another edition of Zoom In on the Halal Metropolis, where we're connecting with people in the Muslim community of Southeast Michigan just to see how they're doing and how they're adjusting and responding to the coronavirus. Here with me today, we have Nabeel Shahzad, who is on the advisory board. He's the advisory board president and vice chairman of the board of directors at the Huda Clinic. I should also mention he's a third-year medical student and currently studying for his boards. Welcome, Nabeel. Salam alaikum.
Welcome, Salam, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And so, the Huda Clinic is such an important institution in Detroit. You guys are serving, thousands of members of the community that's most vulnerable, that needs this medical attention. And I want to get into how the clinic is adjusting and how the garden is adjusting, and how you guys are able to still provide those services. But real quick, just want to check in with you, man. How are you doing, and how are you holding up right now?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. It's like you said, I'm a medical student, so it's like I think by default we're always socially distancing. So now you're studying, so it's like just a few changes where you can't go to specific places and things of that sort. But just seeing like what's going on is kind of crazy to see. And then knowing that we're gonna have to like be in the hospitals is also like another thing. So, but other than that, man, I can't complain. Alhamdulillah, everything has been great.
That's good, man. So, what's happening at the clinic today, and how has the clinic been affected by everything that's happening?
So, it's been pretty bad because so the way the clinic works in general is we kind of have some staff that are supposed to be there, they're paid, things of that sort. But the majority of the clinic is basically ran off of volunteers. So that's what makes it kind of a challenge, because with the stay-at-home order and the state of emergency, you kind of can't have the volunteers in place. So the biggest thing is like operations. Like we're basically working at like a fraction of what we were previously. At the same time as like a community clinic, we don't have tons of money to spend on care that we could give to someone who has coronavirus or things of that sort, like testing, things of that sort. So the biggest thing was basically trying to adjust our clinic operations with the stuff going on, and try doing it where we're still taking care of our patients that come into us. So someone with hypertension, diabetes, people that just need to get their like medications refilled, still being able to see those patients, but at the same time, making sure that when they do come into the clinic, everything is safe. So the way it's working now is we basically pre-screen everybody. So people call in, we'll do like a questionnaire to kind of see if they have any symptoms that are related to the coronavirus. And if they don't, what we do is we try to see what their needs are, right? So if somebody is coming in and they just need their medication refilled, we'll give them the option to basically have their medication dropped off to them. Or we'll have like a set time where they can come in, they know exactly where to go. But for the most part, people are not like walking around in the clinic. You walk into the clinic, you have an appointment, you're kind of taken to a specific room. And then we try to do that, and we don't have people waiting in like the waiting room. So the ultimate goal is to make sure that we're able to operate at a level where it's safe for not only the patients, but also the staff. So the majority of our visits have been telemedicine. And we've realized that's like a big advantage to like the, with like the laws that they've changed. So you can use different applications to kind of hold these meetings with patients. So mental health has been a very big thing with telemedicine. So that's where we're kind of at right now, is more telemedicine, less specialty services, because obviously you can't really do much without being in front of a patient. We have, no volunteers, and it's just like a fraction of the operation. So our biggest concern is just making sure that like the patients that have depended on the Huda Clinic for years, to get their medication, or even to get their produce from like our garden, get like, adequate care by, being referred to specific like places that will give them like a discount on services and things of that sort. Our goal is to make sure that those patients are still taken care of, because ever since coronavirus happened, people, you can't get care for other things you have going on other than just getting your medications refilled. So that's our biggest concern, is making sure that we don't desert our patient population, and we do whatever it takes to make sure that, that is still something that we're taking care of.
Yeah. And you know, I know the volunteer thing is such a big part of the clinic, and I mean, it's basically run by volunteers. And yeah, I myself have volunteered there in the past. But the fact that nobody can volunteer right now, I can't imagine, you know, what that does to the clinic and the
Right,
capacity of the clinic.
right.
And so, you know, for those people that need help, in your public statements or in your communication with the patients, what are you telling them right now, and how are they able to get support?
So are you talking more in regards to the patients that are coming in, or just people calling in that need
I guess
care
a
and
little
things?
bit of both, yeah, because
Okay.
people are probably thinking of you guys to come to you
Yeah.
first, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one thing, like, I guess I don't know if a lot of people know, is like we work as like a safety net type of like service where, you know, you're either underinsured or, you know, you have no insurance and you need somewhere to be seen for something. We're there for you. We can take care of it. You don't have to worry about it. So it takes the financial aspect out of it.
Hmm.
Now with like the coronavirus, you know, plus like people getting dropped with like their insurance, this is like the time of the year where people's insurance plans start changing. So people that had issues, like they can't see their new doctor until they get like a full physical exam. So what we're basically telling people is if somebody calls in, so if it's a new patient that calls in, everything is taken on a case by case basis.
Hmm.
So if somebody is calling and saying they have a fever, or, you know, they have a cough, anything that kind of like could be symptoms for coronavirus, because, you know, in Detroit, that's the epicenter of where things
It's
are
been an
going on.
explosion, yeah,
Right.
exactly, yeah.
So anybody that has those type of symptoms, we won't take the risk of, you know, having them come in, because one, we can't do the testing, right?
Yeah.
So we refer them to Henry Ford, which is down the street,
I
and Henry
see.
Ford can take care of them.
Okay.
If somebody comes to the clinic, so say somebody came in, they had an appointment and they, you know, came in for just something, we still screen them at the door and take their temperature, make sure that they don't
Okay.
have any symptoms. So there's, you know, that other extra layer of security. So nobody gets into the door with like increased temperature, having any type of symptoms that, you know, could be contagious. So anybody that has those symptoms, we tell them, you know, your best bet is to go to Henry Ford and to get testing there. So that's our biggest thing, like with new patients coming in.
Hmm.
Older patients, they kind of fall in that category as well, but older patients that need to get care, it depends. So if you need to
Hmm.
see a cardiologist, it's difficult to do right now, right? But if you need to get your blood pressure medication refilled, or, you know, or any other type of medication refilled, we could do that.
Hmm.
And what we're doing too is like we've done it for a while, is like give people 90-day supplies
Hmm.
on specific medications, and that allows people to not have to worry about, you know, if they're going to run out of medications and things like that. So with our current patients, that's the biggest hurdle, is because someone that has something that needs to be seen, we do have physicians there, and they'll see patients on a case-by-case basis.
Hmm.
But other than that, they can do telemedicine for the majority of the actual cases.
I see. Okay, good to know. And you know, so in this situation right now, I mean, the clinic, you know, operates on the generosity of donors and grants and things like that. For anybody interested in helping the clinic and supporting the clinic, A, what are your biggest needs? And then B, how can they do that right now if they want to support the clinic?
Right. So yeah, that's a good question. Like the way Hood has ran, like you said, volunteers are, that's like
It's the
the
backbone.
force behind it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's everything.
Yeah.
So being that we can't have volunteers, right, and it's like a liability issue, our thing has always been like the financial aspect. As like a community clinic, it's like we rely on, it's like year by year, you know, like if we raise the funds, we're good for that year, we move on to the next year. And since 2004, you know, people have been supporting us for, you know, like very generously, and it's like it's always like very much appreciated. Those are the people, and that's the reason why like we're able to do what we do. As you go on, you know, year by year, costs go up, right? You find out that like your patient population, like now you need these other services which require, you know, more things. So our costs do go up, but we rely, it's almost like a 50-50. 50% of the clinic is basically ran off of donations.
Hmm.
So ironically, this part of the year is actually where we get like that, out of that 50%, half of those donations come from this time of the year. Because
Yeah.
it's Ramadan, you have a lot of people where, you know, from the Muslim population where your job is, you know, you give zakat, and we're zakat eligible. So, we used to go to the mosques, we used to go to people, these like iftar dinners, things of that sort, and we would, tell people about the clinic and people would donate. But now you kind of like take that aspect out of it and it becomes a lot more difficult. And in previous years, we've also had our annual fundraising dinner around the same time, but as Ramadan kept going backwards, we decided let's move it to September.
Okay.
So we made that decision last fall. So making that decision, moving it over, and now like with Ramadan, like all of this stuff is kind of distorted. It makes it very difficult for us to be in the situation that we're in, because regardless of how many people are there at the clinic, right? Because some people might think, well, you have less people at the clinic, you're working at like smaller capacity, your cost should like reduce. But in reality, that's not the case, because the people that got taken away, the factor that got taken away out of all of this were the people that were doing it for free. So
I see.
To keep the clinic open, we still have everything else going as normal. It's just we're basically dispersing it as much as possible, so people are like socially distancing. So that's the biggest thing that we're trying to do now. And just like how we're here like on Zoom, our biggest thing has been trying to have more of like an online presence, and trying to reach out to people that way. So right now we're doing our like our Ramadan fundraiser is all online. We've held like a series of webinars. Our first one was with Dr. Abdul Said. Then we had one with Imam Mikhail was the following week with Dr. Sabah Maroof, and that was on mental health. This Saturday we have one on like a healthier lifestyle, and that one is by one of our board members, Dr. Malik Mushainish is going to be moderating it, and it's ran by someone named Noor. She's going to be doing the talk. And with those, we try to like basically educate people on specific causes and then ask for donations if possible. The other thing, which is, in my opinion, is the easiest thing for anybody to do, is if you look at like everything that's going on in healthcare right now, right? People are starting to see that side of healthcare where you begin to realize that, a lot of the blame that was put on doctors and things of that sort, people like, doctors don't care. They're beginning to see how administration was behind, a lot of it. So the support for healthcare workers it's through the roof, right? So what I tell people is it's great to share information and spread that knowledge, right? But at a certain point, you get to a certain point where sharing that information over and over doesn't make as much of an impact. But if you take action and you're able to find something that you support in the same realm, right, then you can make a difference. So what I tell people is the easiest thing anybody could possibly do is, if you have a Facebook account, just find the Huda Clinic on the charities, and you can fundraise for the Huda Clinic. So we've had a lot of students basically like stepping up, and they're raising $500, $600. Like, if you get a bunch of people to do that, it'll allow us to, basically like continue on and do what we do. Because with coronavirus, things like that, those are things that it's very difficult to manage, and only the hospitals can do it, right? And our thing is like, we understand that we can't do all of that, but the other people that are in the community that need the care, they have to go somewhere, right? And they've always, come to the Huda Clinic, and now we can't have it where like we shut down because, of this also, because now it's a double whammy, and not only has coronavirus messed things up, but now we can't even see patients at all anymore. So donation is the biggest thing. And, as many people know, like the community that we serve is a very underrepresented community. It's, when you look at like health issues, things of that sort, even if you look at the number of doctor's offices around the Huda Clinic, it's a fraction compared to the number of schools in the area. So that gives you an idea of how many families live there versus how many people, are able to go see a doctor in that area as well. So where we're at, it's a dire need for us to stay there.
Absolutely.
So, if you don't have money, if you can't, you're like, it's hard for everybody right now. The easiest thing you could do is just start a fundraiser of your own. It'll take you 5 minutes of your life, and you'll do something that will basically be able to provide a bunch of people care that, might not have been able to get that care.
Yeah, no, thank you. We'll definitely post a link to the clinic, so people can donate and support that way.
Thank
But
you.
thanks for that tip, and I hope people can follow it. Nabeel, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. You're doing some amazing work, and the clinic is such an important institution. It's helped so many people, and I hope that you guys can continue to help all these people that really need it, especially in times like this.
Well,
When
thank you.
is your board exam, by the way?
It was in June, and then with all the social distancing stuff, it's in July now.
Okay,
So
it's in
I
July.
got a little bit of time. Yeah, it's a lot to do, that and this, but
I know, I know. I can't
it's
imagine. I can't imagine.
yeah.
But
But
good luck to you on the
thank you, man.
exam.
Thank you.
Inshallah, you'll do really well.
I appreciate
And
it.
good luck to you the rest of the semester and this year. And stay home and stay safe. And hopefully, we'll see each other at the clinic. At some point
Inshallah.
in the near future. So
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I just want to thank you again. Thank you for having us on here and like being able to represent the clinic. I've seen
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that you guys do in general and how you guys spotlight a lot of, different organizations, people, things of that sort. That's a very valuable thing by shining a light on those things. So, I really appreciate it for you for having me here. And, I look forward to doing some more stuff with you too.
for sure. Yeah, you're welcome. Take care. Assalamu
All
alaikum.
right, man. Walaikum salam.